Hey guys, we're back. A little bit of Promised Land Lake here as we do the drive-by and get ready for the catch and cook. Hope you all enjoy it. We had a great time up there at Promised Land Lake catching bluegills. Sorry that was the only thing biting, but bluegills, as some of you know, are tasty fish. So we're going to show you two ways we enjoy eating them and how I clean them for transport and then how I get them ready for the can. Hope you enjoy. Hope it shows you all a different way maybe that you can try. If not, you know, I'm sure the way you make them is just as good. Bluegills are one of those fish that zoos always have a good population around. So, anyway, hope you enjoy the video.
Big bluegill. Yay!
Another bluegill, guys.
Got the rod. Yep.
Nice beauty. Why, that's where a pile from yesterday.
Hey, look, Mama caught a fish. Another bluegill.
Pile. We got one down here too. We just got to get them out.
Fish on again. Get him, honey.
Tighten the drag up there a little bit.
Oh, I can see him.
He's right there at the bottom of that one.
Yeah, he is.
Big fish.
Yeah, it is. I can see it. I saw him swim past my hole. Woohoo! Get him! That little line ripped. Ooh. Alright. Okay. Yep. Woohoo! I didn't have the camera on for the first two, but there's the third one. Yes!
There go my egg over here. There's another big quality bluegill. I think we got about 8 of them for today so far. We're going to be heading out. It's supposed to rain. We don't want to get caught out here in rain with all our equipment. Then we got to get it dried out. But we did manage to get out here and get us some bluegills, and we got them on tape. And y'all get to catch and cook. All right. Until next time, guys. Take care. Let me get 'em. This up.
This boy can't quit too small. He needs to go home.
We'll throw this one back, folks. Gotta have something up here to breed for the next year.
Bye, fishy. Up, 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 up. Gotta find his own way home. Yep. Bye, fishy.
That's it. So here I am, guys. I'm at the laundry area. They have a nice sink in there. Maybe find a board laying around to clean the bluegills for you. So if you watch, I'll go through. First thing we do is we killed them, you know, by stabbing them in the head. You don't want your bluegills flopping around when you're trying to clean them. And then the next thing was we took the bluegills and cut their heads off. Pretty much, you know, we de-headed them and took the stomach contents out. This allowed us to wash the bluegills up and put them on ice, keep them fresh for transporting back to our home. When we got there, we rinsed them off real good, and then we'll show you the rest once we get there. But that's pretty much how we clean them for transport. Unless I'm gonna actually cook them up right where we're at. You know, just getting the head off and, you know, getting rid of the contents of the stomach is enough to you know, let you chill them down real good and wash them up and have them so they don't spoil. And we packed them in ice. You saw me making shavings out on the ice, and what we did is we filled that bucket with in the corner there with the red lid. We filled that with ice shavings, and we used that to pack the fish in, keeps them fresh, you know, on ice, so that they, you know, can withstand that car ride and stay fresh. All right. So that's basically what we did, and we'll get back to it when we get back to, you know, our house. All right. Thanks. Okay, so here we are back at the kitchen at my home. The fish are all washed up, ready to continue with the cleaning process and getting them ready for the pan. Very shortly, you'll see me giving you the instructions. What's up, guys? Here we are at Ron's house. I'm Ron. It's another episode of Out and About Outdoors with me, and sometimes my friends are along. I don't have any friends here today, but what I do have is some of those big ice water bluegills we just got done catching. You see, that's a very nice bluegill. It's around 8 to 9 inches. We cleaned them up at the lake by taking the guts out. Now what we want to do now is we want to get them ready for the pan. Alright, I have 2 of them here that I got ready already, or they're ready for the pan. As you can see, I removed all of the scales, but we still have the fins. And the reason is because the fins, you know, some people like to eat those. Alright, but I'll show you how to get those out if you don't. Okay? And the tail fins are still on, and the head. Eventually, we'll have them all cleaned up to where they're ready for the table. Okay, this is how we took the scales off with a spoon. The real easy way, just get them in the sink, keep them down low, and don't pull too hard or too fast. And you can pull these scales, will come right up off of the fish. Okay? Now the reason you want to take the scales off is because the skin actually provides quite a bit of flavor when you cook it up, and the fish remains, and the skin remains on the fish. Okay, so when you're done with scaling the one side, you're going to flip it over and do the same thing to the other side. Okay, so now that we're done taking the scales off, and this is the reason we did it in the sink. I know a lot of you guys don't have an outside area, but if you do it in the sink, you can rinse most of these scales right into your sink trap. And then if you use a spoon or even your fingers, you'll be able to get these scales out without causing a clog in your sink. Okay? Okay, so right here we have all of our scales, or at least 95% of them. We're going to put those in the garbage. And if you have a house with a good working drain with a garbage disposal. Most of these should be taken care of by the garbage disposal. Yep. Okay guys, now once you have the fish completely scaled, and you can see that it is, just by running your knife, there's no scales or anything to hold or inhibit your knife from sliding around on it. Now you can take the fins off. Okay, we don't want the head. My wife, she's a big fan of not having a head, so I take the heads off. Now, if you're a guy that likes to make fish soup, these can be used to make fish soup. So I don't know if we'll get into that today. We really don't have enough heads to do that. But maybe some other time, if I get out and I get a big batch of bluegills or other fish, perch, bluegills, walleye maybe even, or even if we go down the shore, we can make a batch of fish soup. But for now, I'm just going to show you how I like to get my bluegills ready when I like to eat them whole. Okay, so sometimes you can't fry them, sometimes you're going to bake them or do them in a frying pan where you want them whole. Alright, now the other thing is, if you can get in on this, is to cut along the edge of the fin on the bottom. You want to do both sides. Okay, and you want to use a sharp knife here, guys. Alright, because if you don't have a sharp knife, you can end up cutting yourself. Okay, then when you have that done, you're going to get a hold of these fins, right? And just reach in there, and you can pull them out and see all the bones come with. If you look there, I got all the bones that were associated with this fin. Okay, these little bottom fins, if you just take your knife and go like that, they come off, and you don't lose a lot of meat with them. The same thing with the top fin. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to take and run that knife right down along there and get the dorsal fin out. Alright, I'm going to do both sides. Alright, and then get a hold of that. Now a good way is to use a pair of pliers. I don't have a pair of pliers with me today, but as you can see, you don't really need it if you do it right. Okay, now we got everything off of there. Alright, so these are ready to go in the frying pan, except for one more thing. Alright, one more thing we want to do to them to really make these good when we cook them is we want to take our knife and make a slot in them. Alright, and what that's going to do is going to allow our seasonings to get into the fish and make it easier to get the fish cooked all the way through. Alright, and all you do is just make some slices about a 1/2 inch apart, 3/4 inch apart down the surface of the fish. Alright, do both sides, and then she'll be ready to take any kind of seasoning you like with your fish. And I'll show you how I like to do them as soon as I get the rest of the fish done. Okay? Be right back to you. Okay, now that we have our fish ready, what we're going to do is we're going to add some salt. And I usually put in here about a tablespoon of salt. Alright, doesn't really got to go anywhere, just in the container. And then what you want to do is you want to add enough water, cold water, to cover the fish. And this is going to make a brine. And what it'll do is it'll help to pull any of the oils that cause the fishy flavor and the blood out of the fish. Alright, and you can leave it sit in your refrigerator overnight, or a couple hours till you're ready to cook the fish. Alright, so we'll get back with you tomorrow when we go to cook these. Alright guys, so we're going to whip up a little bit of tartar sauce to eat on our fish, in case we want to have some fish with tartar sauce. So what I do is I take the Hellmann's mayonnaise. You could probably use Kraft, whoever mayonnaise you like, but about 3 tablespoons heaping. Okay, and I would put in a tablespoon of sweet pickle relish, and you see here I have Heinz sweet pickle relish. Alright, and to that I give a good shot of French's yellow mustard. Okay, so we want to make up enough, we're going to whip up enough for my wife and I. So there's like 3 good tablespoons, and then we need at least a good tablespoon of pickle relish. Alright. And a little shot of mustard. This is brand new mustard. Brand new mustard container. Probably got to open it up. Yep. It's brand new mustard container. So we got caught by the mustard man. Alright? And whenever you open up a new can of mustard, you know if you don't shake it, you're going to get a big squirt of vinegar first. So you give it a good shake. Then, when you go to use it, you have mustard. Alright? So there we go with that. And a little bit of salt. And a little pepper. And a little Mrs. Dash. For flavor. Okay? That's it. We whip it up. And voila. Tartar sauce. Alright. We'll put this in the fridge and get back to you when we're ready with the fish. Okay, so guys, get ready to cook the fish. You have it here in the pan. What we want to do is we want to give it that one last rinse. Make sure we get rid of all the old water that was on there and any any dirt or scales or anything before we start cooking it. So I usually dump off the water and then I added more water to it. Alright, I had these fish sitting in my refrigerator for a couple hours in what I call a brine. All it is a couple tablespoons of salt and enough water just to cover the fish. And what that does is it allows the fish to, to get rid of the blood that's in it, so you get a nice fillet.
Go ahead.
Okay, we're going to get ready to cook the fish here. We got them rinsed off in a pan. We left a little water on them, and the reason for that is so the fish coating that we're going to use will stick to the fish. This is a commercial fish flavoring and coating. It's Southern Crafted Goodness. It's called House Autry. We got it at the local store. You could buy it at Walmart. We've gotten it there and other grocery stores, so you could probably find it if you look for it. And if not, you could probably get it online by just going through Amazon and purchase it that way. What we want to do with this is we're going to add enough of the fish coating to our bag to coat the number of fillets we have. And we have in there about 6 fillets. Alright? So we're going to give it maybe a half a cup. So just go with me here and I'll dump it in. So about a half a cup of this. Alright? We're not going to worry about seasoning the fish because this already has a seasoning in it. So it's not necessary. So you're just going to put the fish fillets into the plastic bag. Alright? Like I say, it doesn't matter if they're a little wet. It'll just help the seasoning and coating to stick to them better. Okay, then all you do is seal the bag and give them a shake. Just like shake and bake back in the day. I'm sure some of you remember shaking and bake. And if not, you're a little too young for that, ask your parents or grandparents. They can fill you in on shake and bake. So that's going to be ready to fry right there. Alright, so we're going to get our oil up to temperature. And the way you check your oil to see if it's up to temperature, and I'm sure you've heard of a lot of people doing this before, take your hand and wet it a little bit and if you don't hear a crackle or a spit, the oil isn't hot enough to fry, so you're going to have to wait a little bit. Right? Okay, so now we got our oils hot enough now, and like I said, you put a little bit of water in there and you'll hear it pop when it starts to get hot to the right temperature. Okay, and then the fish will definitely sizzle when you stick it in. So make sure your pieces are coated well, and I'm using a nice long piece of pair of tongs so I don't get any splatters up on my fingers, so I don't get burnt. I would encourage you all to do that. And like I said, this fish didn't need to have any seasoning put on it because the House Autry seasoning already comes pre-seasoned. But you know, if you feel like you need a little more salt or pepper, by all means, go ahead and put a little more on. I'm just telling you, for my likes, it doesn't need it. Okay, we don't want to overload the pan. Couple pieces, let it fry up. Now what we're looking for on this is to get it to a nice golden brown color, okay? And once the pieces start to float, they're really like probably all but cooked or real close to cooking. Now it doesn't take a lot of time for that, and you don't want to undercook your fish, so you really just got to watch it. The packaging for the fish mix, you know, it really doesn't give you any direction as to how long to cook it, but it says thin fillets it takes a minute or two, and for really thick fillets 5 to 7 minutes, and you can get that directions right on the back of the packaging. Okay, so these have been in now about maybe a minute, so we're going to let them go at least another minute, and I have a little timer here, so I'm going to set my timer, and when it gets down there, it'll give us let us know when it's time to get the fish out. And we're going to go ahead and flip these over. All right. I want to make sure they get cooked all the way through on both sides. So by doing that, you're going to have to rotate them usually. All right. We only got a couple seconds left, so pretty soon the timer's going to be going, and then it'll be time to take them out. It's going to be good. Hey, so this batch is ready to cook. I usually just pick it up and get most of the oil off of it before I put it into a pan here. I have a pan with some clean paper towel that has no type of air conditioning done to it, you know, doesn't have any flavor, smell or perfume that was to it. It's just a paper towel, so you can use it for food. Okay, you can see the fish comes out real nice using this, and it's a real thin breading, and it's really very tasty. So we're going to get the next batch in there, and then when we're all done, we'll show you how we cook our whole bluegills when we come back. All right. Okay, we're going to cook the whole fish too as well. We have 3 bluegills that we cleaned and we kept them whole. So we're going to rinse those off just like we did the fillets with some fresh water. We want to make sure that you don't have any, you know, scales or anything left in there. So you give them one good final rinse. All right, freshen them all up. You don't have to pat them dry or anything like that. You just want to rinse them off real good. Okay, and then we're going to use this container. I like to use a container when I'm going to season up fish like this. What I do is I just drop them back in. And I want to rinse my hands a little bit. Right. Okay, and I have here some store-bought seasoning. This is a seasoning known as Everglades. You can buy this down in the South. I probably get it off of Amazon or other places. It's a real good seasoning for fish, I found anyway. So we're going to put some of that on here, and I'm going to put a lot of it on here. I want you to look. This is really going to be a lot of seasoning that I put in there, and there's a reason for that. Okay, we're not going to put any breading on here. We're just going to put seasoning. And then I have here some chives, right? They're just a dehydrated chive. We're going to put some of that here, all right? A pretty good amount, maybe at least a tablespoon and a half, and pepper. Now you don't want to go overboard with the pepper. Not everybody likes their fish overly peppery, but I put a little bit of pepper in. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take these fish, okay, and we're going to rub them around here real good so we get the seasonings that fell off and went into the bottom of the pot. And we get that all into these cracks that I cut into the fish. If you look, we have all these little cracks in here, and we want all that seasoning and goodness to really get into that and give us some good flavor with these fish, okay? Because a bluegill really doesn't have a lot of flavor. It's a mild fish, and by doing that, we're going to really add some good flavor to these fish, and they're going to be delicious. Now I get back here to rinse my hands off, and we'll get them in the pan. Okay, We got our fish here, and we're going to put them off into the pan fryer. Now the thing is just like the other fish, you want to use a pair of tongs and slowly enter them in there. Because you can see it causes your grease to spit up and stuff. So you really want to get them in there slowly. Okay? And you want to have enough grease in there so that your fish, you know, get down in there. Alright? And this is really a low carb way to eat your fish because well, there ain't no carbs in there. Alright, so we're going to let these cook for about 2.5 minutes on one side. And I would suggest you set your timer so you get that 2.5 minutes without going a lot over. Because you don't really want to cook those fish past done. You want to just get them to that point where they're done and they're a little on the crispy side, and then they'll really be good and fall off the bone for you. So we're getting ready to flip them. These are almost close to that 2.5 minute mark. You can see what they look like. This is the top side. All right, the timer's going off. We're going to flip these over, and then we're going to let them go another 2.5 minutes. All right. Being difficult. Come here, fish. Just like when we caught you. Get up here in the bank. Alright, so we got them in there. We're going to reset the timer. Another 2.5 to 3 minutes. And then we'll check them, see if they're done. As long as they're done, we'll take them out. Now we'll go a little bit longer. But we'll see you when we have these on the table for that taste test. Alright, catch you then. Alright, our fish is done. We're going to stand up and get it to the table. First thing, we'll turn that off. Nice and crispy. Put them in there. Okay. Heat, no fire. Alright, off to the table we go. This is hot. It's been sitting here. Not hot sitting there. Okay, off to the table we go. Alright folks, we're getting ready to eat. I'm gonna do a taste on one of these pan fried bluegills. As you can see, they really came out pretty good. The slits open up, the fish is nice and done. It comes right off the bone, and there's the bones. You don't really lose anything by pan frying them like this, and they're good and crispy. And if you're like me, your cat comes over and gets some fish from you. I don't want to waste it on her. I like the tails. Alright? But my fish is just good enough for the cat too. And me. So you saw how we pan fried the bluegills whole and how we fried up the bluegills with breading. This is what the house Autry breading. We're going to put a little of our tartar sauce on here. I'm going to tell you this is going to come out really good, delicious. Excellent. And the thing we like the best about the house Autry is you don't need to add any extra seasoning. There's plenty of seasoning in here. But for those of you who you know, have to watch their salt intake, you may want to shy away from this and just go with the seasoning we did with the whole bluegills. You can do the same thing with the fillets. You just put the seasoning right on there and deep fry them with just seasoning, and they'll come out good. So, I'd like to thank you for watching this episode. It's a catch and cook with bluegills, 2 different ways. And if you haven't subscribed, hey, go ahead and subscribe. Tell your friends. In the comment section, leave us a comment how you like to cook your bluegills. And hey, you never know. Maybe sometime I'll cook up a batch of them the way you like them, and you can tell your friends that you gave us the recipe. But until then, tight lines, everybody, and stay tuned for the next episode of Ron, Out and About Outdoors with Ron. And we don't know who the friend's going to be next time, but I'm sure somebody will come along. All right, take care.